everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Monique Renee. I am an illustrator and I am also a practicing witch. I will get into why that's important in a minute, but for now I have a very important announcement. I am starting a new video series where I will be designing my own tarot deck. I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while, and I'm super excited that I'm finally just getting right into it. I am letting go of all of the fears that I have, and I'm just doing it. And I wanted to share this experience with you guys because I am just so appreciative of what I have and the connection that I have with all of you in my community. And tarot is something that is very important to me, and I want to be able to share that with you guys in a space that is safe and open, where I can share my opinions and I can share why I love tarot so much, and hopefully inspire you guys to maybe pick it up yourself and try it and see if you guys like it too. So I am a practicing witch and I live in Salem, Massachusetts. You do not have to be a witch to do tarot. You don't have to be pagan to do tarot. One of the most common questions I got in regards to tarot was, is it like tied to any sort of religion, or do you have to be pagan to use tarot, stuff like that? And the answer is no. Tarot is not tied to any religion at all. It is very popular amongst Wicca, witches, and pagan religions, just because of the way people use it to connect with the universe and also use it as a way of divination as well. I am going to get more into all of this, don't worry. This is going to be a 23-part series, so I have a lot of time to really dig deep. For now, the purpose of this video is to give you an introduction to tarot. I want to explain what it is, I want to explain how I use it, and I also am going to be designing the backing of all of my cards as well. So there is a speed paint in this video. It is coming toward the middle, and then toward the end of this video, I wanted to do a very quick Q&A just to get rid of some of the really common questions that I have. If you ask 5 different people what tarot is, you're going to get 5 different answers. So for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of this video, I'm going to be talking about how I use tarot and what it means for me. Now, a lot of people see tarot as this mystical, fortune-telling, gypsy, witchy type thing, but in reality, it's not that at all. What tarot is a series of cards. The cards have different meanings assigned to them, but what's most important is what you decipher from the cards. Why is this useful? Why do people do it if it's not this kind of like supernatural thing? Why do people do it then? For me, it is a form of, I don't even know how to say this quite succinctly. It is a form of looking inside myself and bringing answers to questions that I have out of my own subconscious and finding the answers that I may not even know that I have. This sounds really confusing, and I am fully aware of that, so I'm going to try my best to explain it to you. So when I use tarot, I always meditate, I always ground myself and cleanse myself and make sure I am in a very open state of mind. This is very important to me for when I use tarot. And I meditate on what questions that I have for my life right now, or if there's something that I'm lacking, something that I need, something that I'm confused about. I let myself feel those questions, and I will think about those questions when I do my reading for myself. When I do my reading, I'm thinking about these questions, and I'm pulling the cards, and I'm looking at the images on the cards and the symbolism that they have, and I'm keeping in mind the official meaning of these cards. So for example, the first card that I'm going to be designing is the Fool card, and that is supposed to symbolize someone starting on a journey. So I'll keep that in mind, but I also look at the pictures on the cards and the symbolism and the words and the colors that are used. And I also come up with my own explanation for what that card means. And by doing this, I am using my own intuition, my own gut feeling, and coming up with answers to these questions that really are inside me, and I'm coming up with my own answers. And by doing this, I'm giving myself some sort of guidance with the aid of my own intuition, the deck, and even pulling things in from the universe. That sounds wild, and I know that sounds wild and a little bit out there, but the way I see things, I am connected with the universe. You know, I am of the universe. I came from the universe. So I feel like by getting into this kind of meditative state and keeping myself open, I am also keeping myself open to receiving answers from the universe or from places that I may not normally get answers. So the reason that I brought up that I am a practicing witch is because I live in Salem, Massachusetts, and I work in a place where we do tarot readings every single day. I am surrounded by tarot. I am surrounded by people doing readings. So I have, in my opinion, a pretty decent grasp on the subject. I am not pulling out of these things from thin air, although there's nothing wrong with that. I do just want to say that I have a bit of a background in this sort of thing. So hopefully that maybe puts you guys at ease, because I kind of know a little bit of what I'm talking about. I am also not the end all be all. Like I said, you ask 5 different people what tarot is, you get 5 different answers, and they're all right. There is not a single wrong way to use tarot. This is how I use tarot, and I'm using my own experiences and my experiences from living in Salem and being a practicing witch to enhance this deck and use my knowledge to make it the best possible deck that I can. That is pretty much a very swift crash course introduction to tarot. Like I said, I will be going deeper into what tarot is, how to do readings, what the cards mean, all of that great stuff further on in this video series. Like I said, 23 videos, we have a lot of ground to cover. That being said, if you do have any specific questions, please leave them in that comment box below so I can answer all of your questions. Without further ado, I do want to get into the speed paint part of this video, and I will also be talking about the deck that I will be creating and how it's different from all the other tarot decks. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so now I am getting into actually drawing the card. Like I mentioned before, these are going to be the backs of all the tarot cards, so it's kind of like the branding slash logo, I guess, for my deck. I did want to quickly mention, as of right now, I don't have any plans to sell the deck. And that's just because I'm not sure how logistically it would work, and I'm not sure if anyone would be interested, and also because I am starting by only drawing the major arcana. I'm going to get into what the major and minor arcana are in the next video, but basically I'm only designing part of the deck for now, and because of that, I'm not sure how I feel about selling like a partial deck. So I would love to hear your guys' opinions on that as well. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it, but I have had some questions about people who are wondering if I am going to sell it. So I'm not sure where I am on that. Anyway, let's get on to the actual what I'm doing now. So the idea I had for this tarot deck is it's going to be the crystals and herbs tarot deck. That is because I feel a very strong connection to the earth, and both crystals and herbs come from the earth, and I just feel like the earth is so magical and beautiful, and I feel so connected to her, and I love it. And I love crystals and I love herbs. Those are 2 things that I love, and I surround myself with them. I have so many different crystals, I collect herbs, and I use them just like every day, and they're a big part of my life. So I figured if I'm going to be making a tarot deck, I want to make it about something that that matters to me. So that's why I am doing the crystals and herbs tarot deck. So yes, I'm very excited. The style of the cards is going to be in this sort of inky, sketchy style. I really love doing it, and it also helps me keep the whole deck cohesive. So it's not going to be like a completely colored deck. However, every card is going to have a crystal and an herb assigned to it that I feel corresponds with the card, and I will get more into this again in the next video when I design the first card, but every card has a crystal and an herb that goes with it, and I will be drawing those in the cards as well and incorporating them into the designs, and those are going to be the only colored parts of the card. So there's no color on the backs, but on each card the crystals and the herbs will be colored, while the rest of it is black and white. This is pretty much just a design choice on my part. I thought, again, it would keep the whole deck cohesive, even if my style may fluctuate a little bit between the cards, just because it's going to take me a while and my style tends to change dramatically sometimes. I wanted to make sure that no matter what happens, I would still have some kind of cohesiveness to tie the deck together. So those are my design choices, and I will be going into the choices that I make for the individual cards as I go out into the series and as I explain each card individually, but that's just a quick overview as to what the deck is going to look like and my ideas behind it. I'm very, very excited, and I honestly really am proud of how this came out. The final design, which you will see at the end of the speed paint part, I did add some black into the design as well. I added a black border and I inverted the colors of the text so that the text will show up better, but you guys will see that too, and I just did this because I thought it made more of a visual impact and it was more visually interesting. I do have a graphic design background as well, so I'm also trying to keep in mind those kind of design elements as well as the illustrative elements, and I'm finding that this project is really testing me in a lot of different ways, and I haven't even really gotten into it, but it's already testing me in my abilities in a way that is so fun and challenging in a good way, and I am just so very, very, very excited for this. So as far as materials go, I am using Bristol board and Micron pens for this, and I'm also doing some adjustments with Photoshop as well. And then for the colors, I am using Copic markers. So yes, that is pretty much all for this guy. He's a pretty simple design, but I figured I would show you guys anyway, and it's good to include for this introductory video. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this part, and let's finish off this video, shall we? Now, I did want to take this opportunity real quick at the end of this video to answer some very common questions that I got, just to debunk some myths surrounding tarot, because there are a lot. First question I wanted to answer, is tarot evil? No, absolutely not. Tarot is not evil. Like I said, it's not even tied to any religion. It's a form of self-exploration. It's not evil at all. It's not tied with the devil or anything. I know tarot gets a bad rap just because it is on the more metaphysical side of things, but it's not evil. Next question, is it unlucky to buy your own deck? I get this question all the time online and also in the place that I work. This is also a myth. Please buy your own deck. It is great to receive a tarot deck as a present, but tarot is such a personal thing that only you can decide which deck is going to work for you. So please don't be afraid to buy your own deck. That is totally fine. I also get this question a lot. Does tarot work? Now, this is a loaded question that I do want to get into later on in the series, but as a very blanket answer, yes. Tarot is just a form of asking questions and receiving an answer. Whether you think that answer comes from inside yourself, from the universe, from spirits, or from maybe even the future, it all works because you are looking for an answer and you're receiving an answer. Again, I will go more into this in another video. Another question I get a lot is, how do I get started with tarot? Hopefully this video series will be a good place to start. I will be teaching everyone how to read cards. There's also a bunch of other videos on YouTube. There's a lot of websites. If you literally just Google how to read tarot, that is how I started. And then the most important part is picking up a deck and trying for yourself. You can read all the books, you can read all the online tutorials, but it means nothing if you don't put it into practice. So I highly suggest going to your local metaphysical shop, even looking online. There's tons of hand-drawn decks on Etsy that are awesome, and picking one up that speaks to you and just playing around with it. Tarot is fun and it's great and I love it, and I highly encourage anyone who's curious to pick up a deck and just start reading. And the last question for this video, and another very common one, has tarot helped you? Yes. Tarot is a great way for me to get out of my own head, which I do a lot. I suffer from anxiety, and I love tarot because it puts me into this meditative state and it gives me some mental clarity. Now, this is also going to vary wildly from person to person on how tarot helps them or if they even find it helpful. But for me personally, it helps me calm down and it helps me feel like I am more in control of my life and my actions. That is the biggest part of my belief system, is that I have the power to change things in my life. The power doesn't rely on anyone else other than myself. So when I do tarot, I feel like I am actively doing something to help my life in some way. I am actively meditating. I'm actively thinking about what questions that I have, and I'm actively looking for answers. And then from there, I take the answers that I get from tarot and I implement them into my life. That is the biggest thing. Again, tying back to, does tarot really work? Yes, but you also have to put your own self into it as well. I can ask my tarot deck, why am I feeling so anxious? And my tarot deck can say, well, you're thinking too much, for example. And I can be like, oh, yeah, maybe I am overthinking everything too much. And then if I just continue on with my life the same way that I did before, nothing's going to change and it won't work for me. But if I dwell on that answer and if I start implementing it in my life and start being more mindful of when I'm overthinking and getting into that headspace, and I remind myself, okay, you're overthinking, it's time to step back. In that way, tarot has helped me a lot. So, like I said, it does differ from person to person, and sometimes it's really hard to take the advice of your tarot deck and start implementing it into your life, because a lot of times your deck might tell you things that you don't want to hear. My deck has been mean to me sometimes and be like, hey, you're being stupid about this thing, wake up. And I'll be like, ouch, I didn't want that answer. I wanted a better answer. But that's another reason why I love tarot, because it's teaching me to be more honest with myself and putting more of the responsibility that goes on in my life into my own hands. So everything that's wrong in my life, which is not saying that there is, I'm just saying anything that I'm unhappy with in my life, only I can change it. Only I have the power to change it. Other people in my life may affect me in different ways, but ultimately it's up to me to be the change in my own life. And that is how tarot has helped me a lot. So that is it for this introductory video. It did turn out a bit longer than I intended. Thank you guys for sticking with me. The next video is going to be about the Fool card, so I hope you guys are excited about that. Also, I want to hear you guys' opinion on how often I should post these videos. I was thinking maybe twice a month with regular videos in between, or maybe once a week till the series is over. Like I said, there's going to be like 23 videos, so that's a lot. So I would love to hear you guys' opinions. I would love to hear any questions that you have about tarot so I can address them in future videos. I really hope you guys are excited about this. And yeah, I'm just super jazzed to be doing this and sharing it with all of you. So thank you very much for sticking with me. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys!